All right, 18th of December 2023, and we are left with the 12 days to close the year, and also 6 minutes past 7 a.m. If you don't know what time it is, that is the time in the studios. My name is Federick Dramadri. I'm here to host you or to give you detailed analysis of issues that are happening across the world. But most importantly, this is the Kokoliriko show that comes every Monday to Friday. We'll be doing this with you together on current affairs and giving you detailed analysis of what is happening, and also looking at what can be done about what is actually happening. And remember, there are a lot of things that are happening across the world, and also most importantly, we start from home. What is actually happening at home? You who are watching us right away in this on this show that is brought to you by Western Television on the Kokoliriko show. And remember, we do this every Monday to Friday, and this is here on Weatherhead Park Lane, that is here at plot number 39A, and this is in Arua City. And those who are watching us here in Arua City, we say thank you very, very much. And this is the show that actually wakes you up and really takes you to the work places. And remember, today is a work day, it's a Monday, and also a very, very bright day. And this is actually what some people said, the start of the dry season, okay? And where you see no clouds covering the sun is what people will say the dry season has started. So that means those who are doing brick making or making money out of bricklaying and so on could be now starting their work right now. And we have seen so many people really earning from that business. It's a very good business where you use a lot of energy, where you are able to see the returns instantly. It is a hot cake, by the way. Doing brick making is a hot cake. But also, let's make sure that once you have really put maybe a space for laying bricks, you should be able to really refill it with some soil, because sometimes this actually remain as valleys or gullies to accumulate water and so on. These points where people have been able to make bricks remain actually a point of accumulation of water. So we need to refill them, and also there are points of accident. Sometimes even these wild animals hide under those kind of or in those kind of graves that are left uncovered. So it's quite important that we utilize this dry season effectively, and also really something that can bring for us a better earning. That is one thing. And also those who are watching us are within Arua City, Arua District, and not forgetting those from Marasaterego, Madiokolo, and those from Koboko District and Yumbe. We say thank you for watching the television and also joining me on this show. But also those from Yumbe, Ajumani, Koboko, those are from Obonge, and those from Pakwas, and those are from Zombo and Nebi municipality, and also not forgetting the district. We say thank you for watching, and also those from Lango and the Tulsa regions. We are here, we don't leave you out, and we are together with you. So you should be able to be part of this show. If you have not gone for work, you should be now hurrying, because we are moving forward to see your service provided, especially those in the local governments. Most times people have become relaxed on going for duties. You see around midday, most of the vehicles come into a rural town, okay, a rural city and so on, really with staff. This is too early. Please make sure that the 8 to 11, actually 5 p.m. should be considered in your duty stations, because people need your services. The service you do is for the public. That's why you are called as a public servant. That means you should be really at the workstation up to that time when people are supposed to really get your services. And that is very, very important if we want to really progress as seriously, because it's within December up to January where you see a lot at duty stations, provide the services people want at the specific times, so that we are able to at least progress with whatever we want to do, and also really be able to achieve the mandates that were put in these offices or workstations already. That's very, very key that we should be able to do. Those of you who are watching us from Eastern region, we say thank you very, very much, especially those from Soroti and those from many other districts, okay, Dokolo, Budaka, and many others that you may not really be able to mention all of them. But we say thank you very, very much, and we are there with you, and also really be able to really to do that together as you share with us your comments and also where you're watching us from. And those of you who are watching us from the Albertine Reef, I don't miss to mention Hoima City, where there are a lot of people doing a lot of businesses. But most importantly, the oil is there, and we hope that you should be able to really do it effectively, and make sure that we minimize the environmental social risks that come, because this really come back to the human beings and affect our well-being. So it's very important that we take into consideration the environmental factors and also the social risks that are coming as a result of the mining or petroleum mining, and also those kind of crude oil and so on that will be coming out from that sector. And also those of you who are watching us from central, I mean the greater Kampala metropolitan area, but also not forgetting those from the western side, and those are the people from those districts, okay, I mean those districts that whose names start with K. Most of them are from the western Uganda, and that is very, very important. So we should be able to appreciate you for being always a part of this show. This is the show that wakes you up, and I know that within the space or the time, from the time of maybe 5 p.m. Actually 5 a.m. up to 6, you were able to enjoy those gospel music that were there, and also what was happening. So let's move straight to whatever we're going to discuss here. Remember, over the weekend, the whole of Electoral Commission and the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs was here in Arua, looking at the issues of getting a permanent house for Electoral Commission. Remember, this is here situated in Arua City, and this will be the first ever permanent house that is being constructed for Electoral Commission. And this is one of the achievements under the chairmanship of Simon Bebakama, who is actually the chairperson Electoral Commission of this country. Remember, the Electoral Commission has always been on rentals, and this is really one way they'll be able to actually get away from really paying those rents and so on. Remember, the Electoral Commission office that was temporarily here in Arua City, where they were able to rent houses around Arua Hill, is where they were housing the offices of Arua City, Arua District, and Madiokolo. So those are really where there are challenges, okay? Really in terms of implementing certain things, it becomes difficult for you to understand what is actually going on. So that 4.699 billion Ugandan shillings facility will actually be having a lot of space in as far as the staff dialing is concerned, the issues of training for election officials, the conference hall, and many other office spaces that will be actually be hosted in that permanent building that is actually being built. Okay, and the NEC, I mean the national engineering construction company will be actually be the one doing that work, and that is what will be seen there. So we'll be having a lot of issues around why the offices of most of the government offices are being rented. This is one thing, and if you look at what is happening now, 75% of government offices in Uganda are actually being rented. Okay, they are being rented from other people's rooms. They are being in other people's buildings and so on. That's one issue that is actually really touching the nation. And moving forward, there's a lot that is actually happening across Uganda. Look at the issues of armed robbery, the issues of smuggling, the issues of a lot. So there's a UPDF officer who has been actually killed by smugglers who are purportedly said to be of Kenyan origin. Okay, that is one thing that is actually shaking the nation right now. And what should we do in order to really move away from these issues of smuggling? What can be done in order to actually prevent this? And Uganda, Tanzania and Sudan have remained on the grey list of World Bank, and this is one issue that is actually happening. Remember, when you are on grey list, that means the mechanisms you are put to actually stop illicit financial flows is actually not enough, and that's why they have put such countries on grey list. These are countries that are said to have breached the rules of managing the financial flow, especially when you talk about illicit financial flows, you talk about terrorism financing, talk about maybe armed trafficking, talk about many other things that are actually happening. So the loopholes, the measures that have been put to bridge them are not yet enough. That's according to World Bank, and that is what is happening now. And these countries will not be able to actually do a lot of transactions, okay? And that is the impact that will be having. So what can we do as a state to really come back and really do something around this? And the local council 1, 2 and women council elections are still being really, there's no date that has been set aside. Remember, the LC1 and 2 elections are supposed to be conducted by June, and this by July was extended up to December 30th, where they were granted a period to actually still serve as the Electoral Commission looks for finances to organize the elections. But now we are seeing that these have not been able to be organized, but also we are seeing that the Electoral Commission chairperson is actually saying there are still no funds, and also they have not got any way forward from the executive, or I mean the cabinet, in as far as the processes are to be to continue. Okay, so if you look at the Women Council elections, they were last contacted in the year 2016, and their term of office expired in the year 2020. Up to now, the Women Council offices are actually vacant. If you see somebody moving around and says, I'm the chairperson, Women Council, that person is telling you a lot of lies. So it's occupying the office spaces on illegal basis. Actually, this kind of person is supposed to be arrested and actually prosecuted, because they are invalid, operating illegally in those offices. So he said actually that there's a lot around this because of the lack of 59 billion Ugandan shillings that was actually expected to be to finance the elections has not been actually handed over to the Electoral Commission. That is what is actually happening there. Remember, we are 2 days to the elections of Democratic Republic of Congo, the neighbors of Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, and so on, these countries. So there are 2 days remaining. The last elections open campaigns is stopping by today. That is the final date. So we will be seeing a lot of things happening and seeing what will be happening. I remember some of the MPs are saying, no, I think I'll be able to retain my seat. Remember the member of parliament for the eastern region, that is Ituri province, Bio was actually explaining this, and we are yet to see what will be happening, and we'll be actually giving you more updates on this story. And this is actually coming at a time when actually Democratic Republic of Congo is grappling with the issues of insecurity and also already inadequate personnel to actually counter terrorism and rebel activities in Democratic Republic of Congo, especially the eastern region. So that is it, and I'll be actually coming back shortly with many of these stories, and also giving you detail. Before I move further, for you to do that, you can move to the emails or the official emails. You know, email is something that you can be able to trace and also check the feedback for quite a long period of time, where you cannot easily delete them. So you can just move there and use that email account. That is actual email address. That is westnile@tvstation@gmail.com, where you'll be able to actually share a lot of messages with the management of the television and be able to move further with what you can do. And remember, there's a lot during this festive season, and where you see the issues of theft increasing, the issues of people making money. Now, if you are doing a business, you should be focused on what you're supposed to do, okay? And make sure that the time of closing is as much as early as possible, okay? To avoid the risks, okay? There is a lot that people are going to do. There are some people who come at your business premises, they tend to be observing what you are doing, and yet they are actually planning you on a negative side. Some people come and mobilize themselves, they unlock your doors, they even rob you and so on. There are so many people who have been put on gunpoint in a rural city in different parts of this country that their monies have been actually looted. So we should be vigilant about this. And also, if you are doing a business that is a bit larger, maybe you are in a supermarket, install those CCTV cameras. Even in shops, install them. There are good ways of actually observing security, much as they may not be able to maybe alert you at any time. People have gone much to a greater extent to install these things on their phones. You monitor it on the phone, which is very, very easy to actually manage. So when you cite an alert of insecurity, you will be able to actually inform the people at your workplace, especially the proprietors. Let's do that and also be able to really fight the war together, okay? Instead of waiting for police to come, you'll be actually be able to help police with who actually came to do all these activities at your business premises. So we should be able to install the CCTV cameras, install the firefighting gadgets, okay? I mean those firefighters that you'll be able to put the gas that is there should be that one that has not expired. So it is very, very important. If you use all those kind of things, you'll be able to avoid some of those risks that come. But also making sure that the people you employ are actually vigilant. They don't actually maybe slip off. Slip off, I mean that people who come to a business place and they go and sit at the neighborhood. They don't want to sit at where they actually supposed to do business. Is one make sure that the safety and security is observed, and also at this point, be as the proprietor or the director of the business or the manager, be at your business premises. We have seen scenarios of the people we employ at such a moment tending to start pocketing monies, okay? Maybe he has sold or he has decided to hike prices so that he earns some commission, and yet you pay this person's salary. So that's one thing we should be able to look at keenly if we want our businesses to prosper and progress. And also look at the issues of timely payment of people's salaries. It's very, very important to maintain that relationship. If you pay people timely, even if their monies are very little, they will be able to actually do for you the work with vivid, okay, with vigor, with that energy, with that morale, okay. They will know that you always help them at the time they're actually in need. Even there are some people who ask for advance payments. You pay half of my salary, I'll be able to get the half at the end of the month. That is a mutual understanding. Sometimes there are pressing issues that the workers go through. You lower yourself and understand them individually. Who is this worker I'm dealing with? What is his character? How should I help him to help me develop, to help me grow? Because this is the center, especially the workers are the center of your income and expenditure. Okay, you see that, and make sure that the income level is higher than the expenditure, so that you maintain the capital, you are able to afford the expenses, and also maintain a profit margin, so that you see yourself progressing. When every time you come and you realize that there's a profit, and amidst those expenses, you are able to calculate that unless you are able to realize a profit, that is a very good business. And that partnership is because of the good image the workers are painting, the work they do, and also really their relationship with the customers. Sometimes there are the workers who do not actually do the best that you would expect of them, especially when they are doing actually a lot of things, maybe conniving with some business persons to cheat on you. Some people want to receipt things higher. They maybe reproduce duplicates of receipts, and they give the buyers a different receipt, and also on the receipt of the company that is official, you see a different thing written. So these are things we need to monitor. That's the role of the manager, the supervisors, who are on ground. They should be able to really do that as we move on with this festive season. It is a point of earnings for the business persons, especially who are dealing in clothes, who are dealing in shoes, who are dealing in many other things. Those jewelry, and also the decoration things and so on. That's where people want now to focus, as with those kind of things are very, very much. If we're doing business, ensure that security at this time is tight, and also make sure that you don't close too late, and to an extent that maybe people can easily come into your business and also maybe rob you at any time of the night. So especially in the town centers, let's close early. And then those who are really serious, they have the gunmen, okay? I mean the security persons who are holding gun. I mean the serious guns, not these ones of bow and arrow. You can proceed up to at least 8 p.m., but not exceeding that time, because by that time movement of people and also really has reduced, so you can close it at that particular time. So we're taking a break from here. When we come back, we'll be actually moving to some of the topical issues that will be breaking here shortly after this break. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Serve your family the bigger feast this Christmas with StarTimes Upgrade to Control to enjoy Smart Bouquet for free. Enjoy variety of entertainment including Hello Mr. Right on Makula Chika, Kazanya Kukazanyo on Makula, animations and cartoons on Boeing, series on TLC and Star Life. So make this the unforgettable holiday. More content, happier family. Sabio family the bigger feast this Christmas with Star Times upgrade to Kongere promotion. Novel customers on antenna decoder simply pay 16,000 shillings, copper bouquet monthly subscription to enjoy basic bouquet for free. Enjoy variety of entertainment including Hello Mr. Right on Makula Chika, Kazanya Kukazanyo on Makula, animations and cartoons on Boeing, series on TLC and Star Life. Even better, we have added all your favorite local channels. So make this the unforgettable holiday. More content, happier family.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that commercial break. We are discussing with you still on the Kokoliriko show a lot of issues that are happening, and let's move straight to the issues to do with the LC1, LC2 and Women Council elections. Remember, this country has really been having a lot of headache in as far as the organization of the elections for local council 1 elections is concerned. Remember, we had an interview with the Electoral Commission chairperson, that is Justice Simon Byabakama, who is the chairperson of the Electoral Commission of the Republic of Uganda, and he has done this work for quite a longer period of time. And also remember, he is one person who would fight to be the president of this country. You could fight to be the LC1, you could fight to be, and so on. He's the judge of the political wing, and that is the referee that we talk about. And remember, there we have actually 71,266 villages across the country, and we have currently 555 members of parliament in the current parliamentary seat, I mean the 11th parliament of the Republic of Uganda. But also, as we move forward, we are seeing that we have one president. We will never have 2 or 3 presidents in this country, and that's very, very important, that we can be able to really take seriously from here. And what has come now is, remember, in June this year, there were issues to do with the expiry of term of office of local council 1 chairpersons, and this was also additionally the local council 2 chairpersons, where a number of people petitioned the EC of their laxity and what is going to be happening next. And remember, the parliament was on tension discussing the matter, and many people said, no, we can't really rule lower local governments without prominent officers or people in those offices. Talk about the LC1s, the LC2s, and also the Women Council committees. Okay, the Women Council committees' term of office actually expired in 2020. Unfortunately, in 2021, as we're organizing general elections for the political wing, this election was not organized, and this actually affected a lot of things. Remember, the Women Council committees are responsible of dealing with women affairs, the issues of marginalization that people talk about, the financial inequalities that people talk about, maybe the issues of gender-based violence that many people talk about. This department or this committee of Women Council is responsible for really coordinating the activities of women, but also looking at what is actually happening in those kind of elections. So we are looking at what is actually happening. Let's move straight to what we actually got from Justice Simon Byabakama, who is the Electoral Commission chairperson of the Republic of Uganda. Let's move straight there.
We had a combined budget for the two, which was about 58 billion shillings. And in that announcement, so finance indicated they had the funds for this, for the combined exercise for women councils and committees elections, as well as LC1 and LC2 elections. Well, we were informed by Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development that they were identifying funds, or they had identified funds for us to conduct that exercise. But we have not yet accessed those funds. But I want to appeal to the people of Uganda that, look, one, the said committees are legally and validly in place. Their term was extended once that term, or before this term, lapses. So the current committees, LC1, LC2, are validly and lawfully in place. Secondly, we await the decision of Cabinet to determine the way forward as far as these elections are concerned.
I hope you are able to hear a lot of things from Justice Simon Byabakama, who is the referee for the elections in this country. Remember, he is one person who has done tremendous work and also been able to really stand by his decisions. He has never said, I apologize for mistaken identity or maybe wrong announcement of results. We have seen him defending whatever he has been able to declare. So he's one person who has said he has worked actually transparently and has accounted for whatever he has been able to do. So we have been able to understand, if you have been able to follow it keenly and understand what the chairperson, Electoral Commission, has been able to highlight here, one of the issues is the issue of admitting that truly the term of office for women councils has expired. This was way back in 2020, and also right now we are actually 3 years now that the women council committees in villages, parishes, sub-counties and districts are not really working. Okay, that is one thing. Two, he has actually been able to testify that the 59 billion Ugandan shillings that was supposed to be given to Electoral Commission has not been given. So that is one thing that he has been able to highlight here. Thirdly, we have been able to hear that from him that the fate of organizing the elections either by January will depend on the decision of Cabinet, and there's a new law that has been able to give permission for the executive, or I mean the Cabinet of this country, to actually do either extend that term of office even by more 6 months. And this is what he said. And as if you look at that clause that he was able to talk about, that law, it gives power for these people, actually for Cabinet, to extend the term of office for even more than 1 year. Okay, there's no limit that has been put by the law, and it is just like a flat law, which actually gives more power for this term of office to be granted more. In case the Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Local Government, and the Electoral Commission are not yet ready to organize the elections, in case if the factors are not constant, they will not be able to actually continue organizing the elections, and that is what is actually already there. So what do you make of these persons or these positions not having substantive persons in holding the positions? And that is what we really need to digest here. If you look at the local councils, I mean LC1 and LC2s, these are people who are actually running the government at lower local governments. Talk about from villages, from parishes, or wards that you may talk about. Those are petty offenses that they can talk about. And if you talk about the issues of land, those are cases that they can refer to other higher authorities, and they are responsible of mobilizing communities to benefit from government programs. They also spearhead they are the head of security at every parish or village, and they are also responsible for educating the communities on available programs that government has, but also making sure that the community is faster growing. in that they sit as a committee to scrutinize the plans of their villages or parishes to make sure that at least they advocate for resources for the people in their villages or in their localities. That is what the LCs are actually supposed to do in regards to this. But also looking at giving recommendations on on their people, the citizens they have, especially when maybe if you are they need recommendation, you want to maybe apply for a job, or you want to have movement permits, you want to go somewhere with your animals and so on, even you want to maybe bless your marriage. These are people who are responsible to say yes, this is a person who has who is of good character. He has all these qualifications. You can allow him to continue. So all of us had LC1 letters before we came and take on responsibilities on everywhere. Even if you want to move or transfer from one village to another, or move permanently to maybe reside in another village, it's the LC1 who introduces you to the leadership of the other village. One of the things he is supposed to highlight is the issues to do with your behavior and your attitude. All those things, your characters are actually spelled in his letter. So it's very, very important that these structures have permanent persons, okay? People, not permanent, I mean but substantive, who are duly elected, who are supposed to exercise their mandates really according to the law. So those are people who are in those positions of LC1 and LC2s. But if you look at the Women Council, as I told you earlier on, the Women Councillors or the Council Executives, the top 5, the Chairperson, the Vice Chairperson, the Secretary, the Treasurer, and the Coordinator. These are people who are supposed to really do the needful in terms of advocating for women affairs. One of the issues they do is to link the women direct to the government programs, okay? They are the responsible persons in organizing the International Days for Women, and also looking at the issues of fighting crimes. Women who are maybe suppressed by their husbands, who are not able to really wake up to do their own things, they report these cases to this kind of persons who are able to counsel them, who are able to give advice to such families. And also the Women Council is responsible for linking women to government programs. They are responsible for mobilizing for or really advocating for women challenges to be addressed, but also looking at other things that are related to women. So these are the groups that are not being filled as of now. And according to Electoral Commission, they are looking for 58.98 billion Ugandan shillings to actually organize these elections. And remember, the country now has at least 145 districts, okay? But if you look at the recent creations, they are now 152. So that is what we should be able to look at. If you have this number of districts, and we have so many parliamentarians, and also really that is one thing we should be able to really look at. With 555 MPs in the 11th Parliament, this is what we should be able to really talk about. So should we continue to say there's no money when we need services to at the people's vicinities? That's what we should be able to really look at. Now, if you look at the absence of the Women Council elections or Women councils in the local governments, you realize that most of the events that have been organized for Women Day celebrations have been actually organized by maybe the district councils. At some point, some districts have not been celebrating this because the monies come, but there are no people to budget for these monies. Sometimes the monies end up somewhere and have not been accounted for because these positions are not substantive. Remember, for instance, if you look at some districts specifically, If we talk about Terego district, let's look at Rural district. Rural district, the money that comes as a block figure, 30 million Ugandan shillings for women council elections, not elections, but for women council for their organizations and also running their affairs. So if every sub-county, this district has four sub-counties, that is the Logri and Arivu, talk about Vora and Adia. Now every sub-county gets 350,000 Ugandan shillings. That goes to the sub-counties. Now, this money is given for running the affairs of the Women Council at sub-county level. Now, this money is also part of the celebrations geared towards the commemoration or celebrating the Women's Day that we have in this country. And as part of the celebrations, the district has seen that this money is not enough. Now, it has decided to roll the celebrations at every sub-county. So every sub-county is supposed to contribute 150,000 towards that day. And they are supposed to contribute maybe some of the members of the executive to be part of the organizing committee. And these persons are supposed to be, and the women are supposed to be also transported from every sub-county to where the celebration is supposed to be held. So that means if the council is supposed to run, they needed extra money to do other activities. That means the 3 million is actually just money for actually the celebrations. That is one thing that is happening. Two, if these committees are supposed to work effectively, they are supposed to have maybe transport to move to every parish and also every village, to understand the challenges women are going through, because if you look at currently the women earnings or the women medium income earnings is currently standing at 1.65 million Ugandan shillings. That is annually. A woman earns that annually, okay, an average woman. So if you look at a man earns 3 million Ugandan shillings. That is according to Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. So if you look at that gap, it is quite big, close to just 51%, where women are able to hit that. That means women are around 49%. So men are around 51%. That is still so high. There's need for us to really do something around that. And if you look at in the employment sector, women are still behind. According to Ministry of Gender and Labour and Social Development, they are standing at 3 out of 10. And men are standing at 6 out of 10. That means they always advocate for women's challenges. If this is actually supposed to be organized, the elections are supposed to be done, and then we'll be able to see that be done really seriously. And also people will be able to really appreciate that women are able to progress, women are able to really see that they are able to benefit from the government interventions that are tailored towards them. And also looking at the current challenges that we are seeing at the lower local councils, because of the tendency of people saying that your term of office has expired. Most of the LC1 and 2s are feeling relaxed. You see them only coming with the stamps, coming to actually ask for money when they are giving you letters for movement permits, maybe letters for processing land titles, and also many other things. Even recommendation letters. Now LC1s do not want to give these letters for free. That means the quality or the transparency that will be exhibiting when you are giving someone a letter or recommendation letter to do anything, or a letter to maybe support somebody will not be a really independent one. It will be compromised because I pay for the service. If I pay maybe, for instance, generally in a rural city here, the LCs pay, people pay 10,000 for recommendation, actually 5,000 for recommendation letters, and also 10,000 for movement permits. So if I pay like 5,000 for recommendation, If I'm a thief, will you write on the recommendation letter that this man has bad behaviors, he is always stealing people's things, and I'm even tired of him. I don't I don't think you should be able to give him that job. Will you write that when I've paid you that money? So that's what we need to address. That's what we need to look at. I've seen so many LCs saying that actually defending their move to charge people for those stamps. Okay, you realize that most of them say that they don't have any salary. They are paid 10,000 per month, which is very, very low. So that 10,000 cannot be able to feed somebody, cannot make somebody maintain the office, cannot make somebody to actually do a lot of things in terms of maybe even feeding himself. So for him to sit down in the office throughout the day to wait for whatever challenge or issues will be coming from his village or his residents is not something that he will be able to really appreciate. So he has to move with the stamps in the pocket. He has to actually, there's some now, if you look at what is happening now, there's some LCs who have even moved away from where they have been renting, they have moved to other villages. Okay, you will see that you're waiting letters in where they are supposed to be, so which is quite really something bad. And if you look at some of the LCs, really there is need to conduct those elections. Some of them are old enough, they cannot even now read and write something. With this era where people can easily concord letters, people can cook or really write some letters that even dare to commit crimes. They write them and they bring them for stamping. Those are things that are happening. So we need to move away from that traditional way of doing things. We should be able to appreciate that these elections be conducted so that we are able to get maybe some young, energetic people who are in these offices, who understand, who are able to read, who are able to understand every line of a statement that they are able to write, instead of saying, since Dramadri, you are coming for a recommendation letter, write your letter, I'll be only to come and stamp it. This is what is actually happening in so many villages, where you write your own recommendation letter, you recommend yourself, it is only the LC one to only append the signature and put the stamp, which is one criminal kind of thing that is actually happening. So we need to really look at that seriously and be able to understand that we need some of these changes to happen. So Ministry of Finance should be able to really advance that money, because we have seen so many people, actually agencies and departments, even including ministries, finding it hard to actually carry out the activities. Because elections are supposed to be something you plan for quite a longer period of time. It's not that the Electoral Commission, by maybe storm, realized that the term of office of LC1s has expired, or the LC2s has expired, or even the Women Council has expired. They were aware that when they conduct these elections, they'll be able to actually realize that at some point this term of office will expire. They needed to conduct elections. So in their work plan, this should have been something there that will be tabled at Ministry of Finance table earlier on. So if they didn't do that, that means it cannot easily fit in the planning or for the Ministry of Finance. That means it calls for another supplementary budget that should have been mentioned. We have not seen that featuring. So many times we have seen on the floor of Parliament things discussed about finances, supplementary budgets come, and really we have not seen that being tabled. Okay, it's not yet there. So we will be waiting and also expecting that this be really tabled to save the nation, because they are the people who are really advocate for services at those ground level, and also they are the very people who are able to actually appreciate government programs and make sure that people actually turn out for these programs or really projects that have been rolled out. But also ownership of some of these things can be done when we have leaders on ground who are ready to do, who are ready to deliver, who are ready to actually work together with the government. Okay, if it is a leader who is on temporary basis, knows that his job is at stake, he will not deliver all that he is supposed to, deploy all the energy he has. So that is very important if you want to really do something very, very important in terms of development. Because we cannot do development at central government level without the local governments. Okay? They're the people who monitor the services. They're the people who actually advocate for the services themselves. That's very important. And if you have been following this, if you have any say about the elections, you can be able to really reach us through the YouTube channel, and we'll be able to read your comments right away. And also, write for us where you actually watching us from. We'll be able to really do that together with you and be able to share what it means for us to have these elections conducted. We're taking a break from here. When we come back, we'll be able to go into other issues that are at hand. Remember, the big story is also there, the issues of 75% of government offices in rentals is what we're coming next with later on, after this break. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Sub your family the bigger feast this Christmas with StarTimes upgrade to Kongere promotion. Nova customers on satellite decoder simply pay 20,000 shillings special bouquet monthly subscription to enjoy smart bouquet for free. Enjoy variety of entertainment including Hello Mr. Right on Makula Chika, Kazanya Kukazanyo on Makula, animations and cartoons on Boeing, series on TLC and Star Life. So make this the unforgettable holiday. More content, happier family.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from that commercial break. Hope you enjoyed the break and also hi too, okay? That is it. We're back with the Kokoliriko show and continuing with the issues that are happening now. Remember, there's a very interesting story which is a bit sad, which is a bit very sad, and some people may think about it, some people may not. But something happened somewhere, and also really want to say it with you. 110 years old man has killed the wife. That is 109 years. This is after the woman refused to sleep with him together in the same bed. And that's one thing that is happening. And really, for those of us who are there, you must understand that once you are a married couple, there are some things you have to do together. Okay, having peace at home is also one important thing. Remember, these are people who have celebrated their birthdays together. They wedded, they did a lot that they have ever been doing. And also, within that age range, they have been able to actually do a lot of things. Their children have grown. They are now enjoying them and so on. But unfortunately, yesterday, after just a very small quarrel over women each other, one of them really took the life of the other, and the husband actually killed the wife. That's the unfortunate thing that we're actually talking about. And you should be aware that gender-based violence is just not something big that you may think about. Maybe it could be created by something else, but it's something that comes from your heart. It's just anything that you think may not be really so huge, but you realize that you didn't have any intention of killing someone, but just one kick, one person is dead. So that's one thing. We should be keen about it when we are actually annoyed or angry, and we want to really exchange blows. Come back to your senses and look at the person as you yourself. Think about whom you are handling. How do you handle a situation that has come under your way? And also look at what is actually happening is very, very important for us to actually live longer. These are people who have been able to actually educate people, so many people who have been able to make sure that the society around them is changed. Because really, to see somebody beyond 100 years alive in Uganda is a serious matter because of different health complications, different diseases that have come, different lifestyles that we live, and so on. Actually, for us as young men, we are thinking about whether we will reach even 70 years. That's what we're thinking about. But if we have seen some people up to 100 years, really, those are great people we need to honor and really respect so much. So we need to really look at our behaviors, attitude, and also need to know how to really compromise our emotions. Okay, really keeping it low is very, very important. Sometimes slight mistakes can take us to really big issues, and this issue has already been taken to court, and this is one unfortunate thing now. If you are charging or convicting somebody who is 110 years, you know, death penalties. If you have killed someone, the smallest number of years is 20 years. So what will we say about this? What will we say? And this is really quite unfortunate. That's a stressing matter that is actually happening here in Uganda. And maybe before we move any further, I've been joined by Faris Majid, who is one of the journalists in West Nile Television. He's also the deputy editor at West Nile Television station. Here with him, and we'll be really moving forward with him with other issues that we have here. Faris, you're most welcome. I don't know for how long you have been hiding.
I've been hiding. I've been taken up by other duties, but I'm glad to be back on the show once more. I know it's been quite long.
Yeah.
I don't know how long the year is coming to an end now.
I'm sure people might be surprised, because really
and for those of you who are surprised, because I'm back.
Okay.
What matters is, but just to add on what you said, Federick, I've been following the discussions right from the time you began. Till this time, I must say I'm very much pleased, and what you have been discussing really it's the truth. These are things that I've seen happening. But now, not to divert anything, I want to welcome you, the viewer, to the show, as I'm going to be here with you till the hour. Okay,
first, I want you to first share with me very little about this death issue that we have said. You know, this man has actually been taken to court, and the hearing is actually starting this week. So this 110 years. And killed the wife who is 109 years. You mean, what do you understand from that? You know, because people, the man said he actually called the woman, the wife, 2 times, and the woman refused to come to the bed where they have been sleeping together. And he got annoyed because of anger. he hit her on the head once and just died.
You know, this is quite sad.
And these are people who are always moving with their old age stick. Those thieves they are always walking with. So the man woke up with his stick and hit the wife when she was sleeping in the visitor's room at some time there. So do you expect those things to happen? And how do you think people should be able to handle
Frederick, such issues are always expected. You know, issues of conjugal issues, these are rights that are not supposed to be denied. You know, conjugal right, this is something that you shouldn't, it is your privilege, it is what you're mandated to once you're getting married. Even the religions talk about it. Once you're supposed to get married, you're supposed to look at your partner who is sexually active. So, you know, men, by our virtue, you know, our urge is usually too much, and this is why I say certain issues are always expected. That is why you're seeing constant breakups. That's why you're seeing issues of people cheating going on. It is just
now at 110.
I'm coming that point. I'm coming that point.
At 110 years.
I'm coming that point. Yes.
Do you mean the appetite?
Yes.
For sex is also still there looming.
Let me come to that. You know, as men, our urge is usually there, and the fact that we have always been told that men can produce till they die. A man can produce till they die, but a lady, when they reach 45, the conceiving may become very difficult for them. And you know, usually the fact that our sexual urge is more compared to men, and denial of this conjugal right is a crime. And this man, if I think by the virtue of his years, but 110, what will you do, go to court really? But you would expect somebody maybe who is of 35 or 20 perhaps to go to court if the spouse denied him the privilege.
But of course, there's
denial of the conjugal right is a crime in court. So I think this man would have done that, but by the age of, by the virtue of their age, 110 and 109 years, really, you will really condemn this because it looks very awkward for them to, because these are people who have grandchildren now. You expect them to be having grandchildren whom they're supposed to be playing with, but you know, the men will always remain men, and by the fact that our urge is usually too much, you expect certain things, because Frederick, you know it, you're a man. You know the feelings when they arise. When they arise, you always expect certain things to happen.
Annoyed.
Yes, sometimes you get annoyed. Once you are, well, you know this how, because usually you have this, you know, I not want to go much into that. But you know, this is always expected. Dear viewers, you know this is always expected. But now, denial of conjugal right, this is the privilege in bed. It is a crime. Even in the laws of Uganda, it is a crime. So I think this man would have taken better options, because taking the laws into your hands solves nothing. Because this is somebody with whom you have spent, I must say, half of your years. Because I expect them to have gotten married maybe in their early 20s or perhaps mid-30s. So I think they have stayed for quite long. They have their families, they have children, they have great children, they have great grandchildren. They're actually expecting now, because 110, you must be expecting at least great grandchildren now, because some of your grandchildren whom you produced earlier on would have also multiplied. So I think that incidence is quite regrettable. It is quite ashaming. At the same time, I think the leaders also need to come out and really talk about certain issues, because you know, issues of conjugal rights, sex. Culture talks very much about them. The books are directly about them. Even the traditions talk about them. So I think this is quite regrettable, and we have seen this happening. We have seen at certain age, men still want to be with their wives. We have seen this gradually. If you are to observe, if you are to make an observation of this old women and men couple, you will tell. At certain age now, the women will want to move away and now want to concentrate on their own things, but men still have the feelings. If you are to make an observation, you are seeing women leaving their rooms to go into other rooms. Why? Because they want to move away from that issues of sex. They now want to rest. They now want to just have that time now for their own things. But still, as men, we have seen this. Our urge still keeps on going on. You see old men want to tap around. You see them still having feelings for these women who come around. Really, if you're observant enough, you can tell this. Because in my society, I've seen it happening. I've seen it happen in different places. You see old men, really, whom you would also get scared. This one is still having the urge. You get surprised, but you see them still wanting to do these things. You see them want to, because their urge continues. But women, I believe, when they reach a certain age, they now want to concentrate, you know, by the virtue, they want to raise their children, they want to concentrate on raising their great-grandchildren, they want to concentrate on doing their own things rather than now having time for sex. So I think this is quite regrettable. It is an incident that really, it is quite shocking. I don't know where it happened, but really, we want to really also
Right,
say
Faris, that's a good point, and really it's happening everywhere that we've seen these issues come. Many times we have seen women feeling that they want to now sleep alone, okay? At some point, even these young women, we have seen them run away from their husbands that, hey, the man is not giving me a break. He wants to do things, he wants to, engage in sex every night. And I want rest. You see those kind of things. And we've seen that a new law has come that if you don't really respect a woman who is saying no for sex today and you want to do it maybe by force, that is a rape. And now you'll be charged for that for 6 months. And also, once you play sex and somebody is saying, I'm satisfied, mine is enough, and you want to continue, that is another crime. You'll be charged. And these are things that are coming. I hope the Child and Family Protection Unit will be able to actually disseminate more on that. But also, if you look at the issues of people conceiving at beyond even the 50 years. You remember the story that came in November from Masaka region, where a woman who has never delivered twins at the age of 72 years. This was where the man decided to took to his toes and, and ran away. But that's one story. And you should be able to understand that people are still active. As long as you are not sick, people will be able to actually engage in sex. So the essence of getting married is have those things done privately. And why you should be away from your parents, you should not be doing them at your parents' places, is to have that respect. So if you have gotten married and you want to really sleep alone, you want to be the other side, that means all of us will be having one roomed house where we will not have now other rooms separating us. That's one thing that will be happening. Actually, it is really a very unique thing that is actually happening. It has been happening silently, not until you have seen the issues of people fighting. You have seen just at my neighborhood last month. I saw people why actually 75% of the government agencies and also departments, and also looking at ministries are hiring or really hiring people's houses as rents for their office spaces. Remember, the 555 members of parliament in the level of parliament currently are actually staying in rented houses. Majority of them, actually all of them, are staying in rented houses in Kampala. And the parliament spends about 89 billion Ugandan shillings annually on paying rent for the members of parliament and also those who are working in parliament. And this is one thing that is actually happening. This is a communication from the former finance minister, former state minister for finance, that is David Bahati, who actually said that they are spending about 189 billion Ugandan shillings on rents. And one of the issues that is coming now is if you look at many of these cases that are happening, if you look at most of the government buildings, there are few now, and most of them have been sold out. I don't know why. If you go to the barracks at they used to call it military barracks at Oshiba, around there, Anafio area and so on, you realize that there are already Eritreans, Somalis, Ethiopians occupying the military. Used to see it, you see Ethiopians already occupying the place and many other areas. And you realize, you wonder what is actually happening. Why is it that government property are not guarded so keenly? And yet we spent a lot of money in terms of rentals, okay, trying to look for office spaces, and that's where we want to go to. And one of the entities that has actually over time been operating on rent is the Electoral Commission. From the head office is on rent, and even at the district levels, They are on rent. And they are now trying to construct the first ever permanent house in Arua. That's what they are doing. And this was launched over the weekend. And if you look at this department or this agency that is supposed to provide, or institution that is supposed to provide election results, and which are said to be credible and accountable and also transparent, is where they are renting. Sometimes they are inconvenienced. Sometimes you go and look for your results. How many votes you were able to get from maybe BBSL in Arua City? You fail to get it because the ballots have been misplaced. Maybe the boxes have been maybe confiscated by the landlord because the rent has not been offset. And that is what is actually happening. That's where you see every year the Electoral Commission shifts offices from here and there. And this is one thing that is actually affecting showman issues. People are still thinking that there's no credibility in delivery of election results in this country in as far as that is concerned. Let's move to that story, and the production team should be able to really relate that. Within a short time, we'll be coming to the analysis of the issues that are actually happening. Thank you. During the groundbreaking for the construction of the first ever permanent custom-built regional offices for Electoral Commission in Arua City, the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Norbert Mao, who represented Robin Anabanja, the Prime Minister for Uganda, as the chief guest, decries the unnecessary expenditures by governments, ministries, departments and agencies through rentals, something termed as the wastage of taxpayers' money.
75% of government offices are owned by other people, so government spends a lot of money paying rent. Electoral Commission also has been a tenant and is a tenant in many places.
For decades, the Electoral Commission, mandated as an independent body by the law in Uganda to conduct, monitor and announce credible election results, is one of the institutions in the country suffering the consequences of rent charges as they don't have an official permanent structure. This raises concerns among different stakeholders over the credibility of the election results announced by the Commission.
And the way papers are scattered, you may not get something very fast because there's too much congestion in the offices.
We have 4 units in one, housing the regional office, Arua City office, Arua DC's office, and Tarago DC's all sharing a small building.
As the Electoral Commission, we already put in, and by law, Section 20 and 21 of the Electoral Commission Act demands that we must have an office in Terego, but we are not yet able. We are waiting for resources.
National Enterprises Corporation, a company belonging to the UPDF, has been contracted to build the 4.699 billion Ugandan shillings facility located at plot number 2 along a municipal bypass in Arua City within 8 months. Justice Biabakama Mugeni Simon, the chairperson Electoral Commission, says this is a positive gesture that will be rolled out to other 12 regions in a phased manner once the funds are available.
The Electoral Commission created its own regions. We have 12 regions in the whole country, and Arua is the first to take it. Even headquarters, we don't have our own home yet. You can imagine. Even headquarters, we are tenants. We are tenants now at headquarters. So Arua is the people of Arua and West Nile region as a whole are very privileged and blessed to have the first EC home constructed in this area.
Currently, Uganda has 146 districts, including cities, with over 71,000 villages that the Commission has grouped into 12 operational regions to help in conducting her businesses at ease. Federick Dramadri, West Nile TV, Nilecast. All right, welcome back from that, and I hope you have been able to understand what are the different stakeholders who are able to react about the absence of government facilities to accommodate staff, and also the office equipments. that are needed, or providing services from rental places and so on. Remember, in a rural city, you saw what the Secretary of Social Services said, actually, that papers are scattered all over. When you go to Electoral Commission office, it is difficult for you to actually identify where your offices are, or your papers are. That is one thing. And two, the issues of keeping records becomes difficult, because people come in, people go out, even the landlord comes in without authority, interferes with all that is happening. If you remember the stories of ballot boxes confiscated recently of Tereko, the district election officer of Arua City, the district election officer of Madiokolo, the district election officer of Arua district. So all this in the same building, maybe marked for this is for Arua district, this is for Arua city, and they are sitting on the same desk. This is the problem that we are talking about. How credible will these elections be in case somebody comes out and petitions that we are not able to see that this transparency is this, because people are mixed up. How do we understand that this is the truth? But also, even if you go to Arua City Council now, the government offices are very few. People are delivering services in corridors. Go to the Natural Resources Department. Go to ICT. They are even actually in a building that is looked at like a garage. You wonder what is happening with government right now. When most of the funds come from government, we have been able to see that through PPDA, they are looking at strengthening the private-public partnership to look at that. Faris, what do you make of this 75%? That means we have 25% government offices operating in a good facilities. We are talking about 75, but me, I'm of a feeling the numbers could actually be more. The statistics may be less compared to what we have. 75 may be, in my own opinion, may be less. Because if you look at some of the government entities, you will tell that most of them are actually being rented, and some of the critical have been renting. I can tell you this, I can count for you more than 10 which have been renting, and these are 10, and these are critical government agencies that have really been renting. And what does this mean? And recently, I'll give you an example of the judiciary. Most of the judiciary offices in Kampala were being rented. And what does this have, and what, before they embarked on their constructions, and now I did see them constructing, and I think by now the buildings might actually be done now. So I think just like Electoral Commission, Judiciary also, and other agencies we are talking about that have been rented. The regional office is also on rent. Yes. Even I think because that building is on Jubilee, I think even that the head office is also being, I'm not too sure about it, but I have a feeling more the numbers could actually be more than what we are talking about here. Because if you have to look at it, several of these government agencies are being rented. And what does this have, what impact does it have on the taxpayers' money? And at the end of the day, this affects service delivery, because money which would have been used in other things is now being catered for paying rent, because these buildings are paid expensively. You can just tell how much money is being used to pay for these houses, all these buildings, because several of these offices are being put in one place, and somebody cannot just allow to rent this house cheaply, because they know at the end of the day it is government coming to rent their buildings. And so at the end of the day, they always have that impact of hiking up the prices. So I think this is really having an impact on the taxpayers' money, because at the end of the day, money which would have been used for service delivery is now being used. It's still not a service delivery, but now it is not being put in the right implementation. So I think what government needs to do is let government come up and have these government lands where they are, put up the structures, so that at the end of the day, money which would have been used for renting is used for other things. At the end of the day, that's when you're seeing that these people's expenditure, at the end of the day, they usually have that provision for rent, which is quite huge. So I think if this money would have been used for other things, you talked about these offices not having enough space. Because why this is because you are just renting somebody's house which was not planned for these things here. You are renting a house that was not planned for this. If you have to move these facilities, these agencies have, that is why they are facing these challenges. Because somebody had constructed this, initially constructed this house for a different cause, but now you're coming to rent it as an office. So at the end of the day, you may lack that provision that which you wanted. So I think this is something that is quite, that should be condemned, and as government, we need to really embark on seeing that we construct houses for these agencies, because we have government land. What is happening to them? We have quite many. If government is to put up structures for these
offices or these houses in whatever they are. So at the end of the day, this would also really help impact on service delivery. We are talking about this. So many parties, we even did see it when NUP was unveiling. People had allegations. Why is it that these other parties do not have these structures? So I think these structures really mean a lot. At the end of the day, it will really help the ordinary taxpayer, because money which would have been used for paying rent can now be used for maybe for putting up a road, a kilometer of a road, maybe bring drugs at the health facilities, so that at the end of the day, the people who really need the services benefit. Because if we do not have the structures, really it is going to increase on our expenditure in terms of paying rent. It is also going to affect service delivery. You talked about people, because at the end of the day, if somebody comes up and says, I want to move out of my house. As government, you have nothing to do. You'll have to move out, because the person, if he feels that they need to use out their houses, that is why you're going to see issues of people's papers getting distorted, because when they are transporting, issues sometimes also get affected. And then we are seeing cases of fires which are not really catered for, because this building sometimes they lack the security bit of it, because they're not planned. And if government is to put up proper structures, they would have catered for these provisions, maybe in terms of security and other aspects, so that at the end of the day, maybe we see people's property that is inside is safe. I think this is what the government needs to do. We need to, I'm appealing to government to ensure that all these agencies, instead of being rented, let them put up permanent structures so that they can support the taxpayers also, and avoid our money that is we pay in terms of taxes into going to paying rent.
All right, let's take a break from here. We'll be coming back to actually discuss this more and really see what can be done around this area, because it's very pertinent that we understand the issue and also be able to really design mechanisms actually to move away from that kind of situation. Let's take a break. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Sabio family, the bigger feast this Christmas with Star Times upgrade to Kongere promotion. Nova customers on satellite decoder simply pay 20,000 shillings special bouquet monthly subscription to enjoy smart bouquet for free. Enjoy variety of entertainment including Hello Mr. Right on Makula Chika, Kazanya Kukazanyo on Makula, animations and cartoons on Boeing, series on TLC and Star Life. So make this the unforgettable holiday. More content, happier family.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Hey, hello. We're discussing about the gap that we have seen in government and running government generally in terms of accommodation of government offices and also the unnecessary expenses on rentals. Remember, the country actually spends 189 billion Ugandan shillings that's on parliamentary or the parliament generally in terms of rent, and also many other entities are also grappling with office office space. This is after really so many of them spent at least 60% of their earnings or incomes or budget in terms of rent, and this is where really a lot of issues are coming up. If you heard from the start of this topic, we're able to run for you a story there and be able to see that you are able to actually grasp something. If you follow the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, that is Norbert Mao, who came here in Arua, in that interview, he actually explained that due to these unnecessary expenditures, the country has actually failed to do a lot of developments, and that's why we're not moving to the middle income status soon. And he said actually 75% of the government offices are on rentals, okay, are actually being rented, okay. That means we have a lot of things to do if we want to actually achieve something. If we want to save money, if we want to stop depending on foreign aid, if we want to stop from those restrictions or people forcing you to say, we support homosexuality, we have to actually be independent and construct our own things and be able to avoid some of those unnecessary expenses. Faris, we are still here discussing this with you, and let me dive your attention towards really what it takes for us to actually cut down some of these unnecessary expenses.
One, first of all, these issues of rent needs to be cut down. This is one issue that really needs to be ensured. If government ensures that money that is to be wasted into rent is put into other things, then we are going to be avoiding these unnecessary expenses, because you know these the entities usually come up with the budgets at the end of the financial, or before the financial year. They usually come up with the plans. They usually come up with their draft budgets. So I think if these agencies were to have these issues of cutting rent out of their draft budgets for the financial years, it will really have an impact on the service and the quality of service that will be delivered. Because one, the issues of having this too much expenditure on rent is putting out so many people out of service. First of all, the money which would have been used for employing other, you know, these officers sometimes also grab with, they have staffing gaps. And one issue where these cases of staffing gaps is coming out is because of the unnecessary expenditure, one which goes into rent. So I think if government really ensure that money that will be used into paying for this unnecessary expenditure, let me talk about rent. And then we are talking about rent alone. We're also having money that these local governments, and now let me come to local governments, are wasting in terms of transport and fuel. If you have to look at it, if you have to observe most of these newly created districts, most of their staffs actually do not live where the districts are. So this is also having an impact on the quality of service delivery that we are likely to see. Because somebody is not living within the jurisdiction is supposed to work, is living in another district, and then what does this have? What impact does it have on the kind of service delivery? Because firstly, it is going to increase on the expenses. One, in terms of fuel, and then the vehicles. So I think if governments, these local governments are really, and other government agencies are to ensure that putting up proper structures is really ensured. At the end of the day, this will have an impact on the kind of service that will be delivered. Because if you are renting, you will know that, Frederick, if you have rented, you know the pressure, you will not really know how it feels. You will, at the end of the day, even before the month's clocking to an end, you will have that feeling, you will always have that fear. What am I going to be telling the landlord? And this is the same thing these government agencies are going through, because somebody who is renting the house will not want to know what the government is going through. For them, what they know is government has money. Let government pay them their money. They will always want their money back. Even if it delays, they will always want that money. They will always need that money. And usually this money is quite expensive, because somebody renting a house to a government agency will not rent this at the same amount to an individual like me. For instance, if I'm a private person, I may not rent the house at the same rate the government would actually also rent. So I think this is something that government needs to do. Because at the end of the day, if we do not ensure this, money that is being wasted in terms of paying rent is quite huge. This is what I'm thinking. If government wants to avoid unnecessary expenditure, and now let me zero it down to the aspect of rent. let them come up and develop these government lands. We have government lands, Federick, quite many. Though we have had cases of people selling them, and sometimes giving them to investors under unclear circumstances. I don't know, we have seen government losing. So I think if government is really to put up these structures, we have these demarcations. We have seen government saying this is where this house, this is where this government land is. This is the office of this so and so. This is where this entity is. If these entities are sitting on government land, why don't we then put up proper structures to see to that issues of renting is avoided, issues of these facilities being put up on substandard buildings, really, if we talk about them, why don't we then avoid these cases of these buildings being in dilapidated structures? Why don't we upgrade them? So I think at the end of the day, if government is really to ensure that issues during the financial budget, to see to that these issues are addressed, and this goes back to our leaders, because government will not want to run the way we think it runs. Issues government plans ahead of time. So I think it is upon our leaders now to ensure that when they are doing their plannings, when they are doing their yearly activities, let them ensure that they come and ensure that they plan for these government structures. Because at the end of the day, if they do not ensure that these things are not captured into their financial year plans, then we shall still see them we shall still continue to see to that government will keep on renting, because this is something that really has not been there newly. This is something that has been there time immemorial, and we have seen this, and we know what government is really capable of, and we have always complained of agencies doing the same thing, and most of them actually renting. And then we are talking about how many agencies, and we are talking about merging them. If then we cannot avoid, if you cannot avoid keeping these other government agencies and these government offices into renting, why don't we merge them and form one? I think what we could do is form one agency and put up proper structures to develop this at the end of the day, and then it will also really greatly impact on the taxpayers' money from being misused. So I think issues of leaving these government structures to be on rent is one area that also we need to look out for, because at the end of the day, if it is not ensured that way, then we are bound to be seeing these issues of people renting, people still continuing to rent these houses, continuing. And then at the end of the day, it is the pinch also goes back to the taxpayers, because these government agencies are paid using money from taxpayers. So I think what government needs to do is to avoid, because this is something now the permanent solution of avoiding taxes, people's taxes being misused in terms of rent. This is the solution. Waste the money, build it, then avoid paying rent, because that is the only solution now. This is what I think of.
We saw a lot of plans and also so many strategies laid in terms of looking at what should be done. We saw one of the issues was about national housing through NSSF and also private public partnership, that government wants to start constructing houses in a phased manner, and also you remember apartments that are being constructed at national housing. Those are things that government is trying to put, but it's really show not at a serious speed that we may say could be done within 5 years or 10 years to come. So that is one thing that I've seen, and I don't know, is that a way for a step ahead that you think can be able to address some of the issues?
Sometimes we come up with nice proposals, but then the challenge comes in the implementation. That proposal, really, it is quite commendable. It's something that really, if we took up, at the end of the day, we shall be able to see that, you know, Frederick, these buildings have been rented, I don't know for how long. And then people in the offices keep on changing, but then the structures still continue remaining where they are. You know, people come in office, you're not going to be in that office for life, but then you keep on renting. So I think these issues of people renting these facilities, if we are to see to that, if government was to see to that, they put up proper structures. You know, the workers keep on changing, but the entities keep on remaining. You may not tell me that government agency will die if the person there dies, if the person there lives. Nothing will change, because at the end of the day, these things will continue. So I think what government needs to ensure is that they let them come up and speed up this process. Me, I think, because if they do not speed up this process, nothing changes. We are still continuing to waste a lot of money, rather than seeing that if these things were supposed to be put on timely, if these buildings were supposed to be developed timely, if these housings were supposed to be put up at the right time, At the end of the day, we will be able to see these huge months. We are talking about so many months. You know, if 5 years, you can just imagine how many months we are in there. And then how much money is supposed to be wasted in there. So I think if we are to be able to speed up with this process, at the end of the day, it will really also help impact on the taxpayers' money. Because my pain is really the taxpayers' money, because they are the ones that suffer with paying the revenues. And we know, Federick, how people are failing, how people are fearing. And one reason actually why people do not want to pay taxes is because they do not see the value. And where do they see the value? It is through the services. And one of the services is the roads. Secondly, it is health. Then thirdly is education and many others. So I think if people do not see the values of their monies, then they will opt not to pay these taxes, and then that's when we are seeing this grief. That's why we are seeing this force that is being used between the tax enforcement officers and then the taxpayers. That's why we are seeing it coming in through. So I think if these people are supposed to be engaged, if government is supposed to really put up these structures, it will. Then secondly, it will first of all limit money that will be used into unnecessary expenditure. It will bring the money to where it is supposed to be used. And if this money was supposed to be put into social services, then these people will see the value of them paying taxes. And then this will also help amplify the fight against people desisting to pay taxes, and it would actually encourage more people to pay these taxes. So I think speeding up the process of putting up these building structures is the way to go, and this is what government needs to do. So at the end of the day, people do not waste money into paying rent. Because, Frederick, you know it, if you are paying rent, you know that you are owing to somebody, you know it, you will have that attachment, you always have that feeling, you always have that fear, you know. Somebody is demanding me, there's somebody demanding me this. At the end of the day, you will not operate the way you think you should operate. It in one way also limits you or puts you down. So I think this is something that let government take up, let them ensure that they put up these structures. So at the end of the day, it will help improve on service delivery.
Okay, that is not only at the headquarters or anywhere, but we have seen so many local governments grappling with the office space and also the issues of where they are supposed to operate. Remember, in Madiokolo, we have Okoko sub-county, which has been operating in a rented house, and now the sub-county even failed to now pay the rent, and most of the equipment at the sub-county have been actually confiscated by the landlord, and currently they are just battling to pay that 7 million Ugandan cedis that are accumulated there. But also, if you move to Madiokolo, there are 11 sub-counties that are actually operating under trees, others under people's under people's veranda, others are operating in churches. So that is how really a government has found itself doing this. We show a lot of creation of what is
actually within the city. If you have to move to Central Division, this is one issue that the leaders were raising. They were actually raising this complaint of them not having enough office space. So I think they were appealing if they would actually develop that facility and put up better structures, and this would actually help them, because most of these officers operating in Central Division are operating under the tree. You know that tree there? They actually sit there. That is where their office is. Then secondly,
the mango tree,
yes,
and the other one.
Then secondly, they are sharing the main hall. And then you know that impact of them sharing the main hall, and how it will affect service delivery, and how many people, you can just imagine, access that main hall. So I think this is something that is not only affecting Madiokolo as a local government alone, I believe it is also affecting these other local governments at the same time. So I think if these were, because these are, Frederick, you know, you're employing a technocrat who may be a master's degree holder, who may be a PhD holder, but you're allowing them to operate under trees. What kind of service is this person going to give out to the people he's supposed to serve? So I think this is something also, if these local governments were supposed to take up, then it will really be of great importance to them, because these issues of people operating under mango trees, people operating in these main halls, really it affects service delivery. Yes, it really affects service delivery, because you know you're not going to put out the right service. If, for instance, if you're operating under in a church, it is going to affect your operations. So I think this is something that, if these local governments are supposed to take up, it will really be of great importance to them.
All right, dear viewer, that is it from us, and we appreciate you for paying attention from the start and also being part of this show. We appreciate you so much, and we'll do this again tomorrow. We'll have one guest also here to discuss a lot of issues, and that's what we'll be able to do. But Faris, yes, I want to say thank you very, very much. If you can say hi, and then you'll leave at this time.
Yes. The privilege, I really want to thank you so much, Federick, for allowing me on the show as well. I know it has been quite long, that the last time I appeared here.
For sure.
But hopefully today I've been back, and I also want in a special way thank the viewer of the Kokoliriko live show. To you, that ardent follower of the Kokoliriko live show, who ensures that you do not miss the show each and every day. I want to thank you in a special way. I want to also pray that may the Almighty Lord give you the courage and give you the strength to ensure that we continue sensitizing or talking about issues that affect us, because at the end of the day, if we do not talk about these issues, nothing will change. And that is why we always want to come with the Kokoliriko live show on the West Nile television every Mondays to Fridays. That is when we come and talk about issues that affect us, because the issues, if we do not talk about them, nobody's going to talk about them. That is why I want to thank Federick so much. I also want to thank the management and everybody who ensures that they do not miss this show each and every day. Thank you so much.
Okay, that is it from the deputy journalist. That is the deputy head of department newsroom, and also he is the journalist who won the award for July, the best journalist of the month for July in West Nile television here. And also behind the camera is Dijon Pro, and also I have producer Aldo. And up next we'll be having the news in Lugbarati that will be brought to you by Feta Emmanuel, and many other issues will really be coming after that. My name is Federick Dramadri. We're out of the studios. Thank you very, very much.